I really feel that we do need to develop a unified voice with a significant PR campaign that conveys to the members that we want them to have raises. We understand they're paying with inflation, and yet this is what we have been struggling for, and we really want to protect healthcare and get that straight first. So I hope we can work on something like that. I'm more than willing to be on a committee that moves that forward. And yet the other issue that comes up time and again, and I feel this too, is that the hospitals are fleecing us, that the cost of medications are just absolutely, especially the non-generics, are through the roof. And I personally end up getting coupons and discounts and, you know, going to Canada for some of my members just to kind of help them bear the cost of these exorbitant medications. So going forward, in terms of a long-term vision and campaign, how do we really affect, you know, get beyond the fleecing, get beyond the exploitation of big pharma and all the for-profits on behalf of our members?
Donna, you are in sync with the MLC leadership, because one of the things the MLC leadership did is they asked H.I.P our healthcare consultant, to take a look at how New York City stacks up against the next four largest cities. So Harry, if it's okay with you, Lenny Mango, who's on from H.I.P, if you could succinctly just give the highlights, and there is a paper being prepared that Donna could vote towards what you're speaking about, for MLC leadership to decide how it goes. But Len, can you give a sense to the group of how New York City stacks up against the next four largest, and start by telling us who the next four largest are?
Sure. We looked at the four largest cities by population, and that would be LA, Los Angeles, Houston, Chicago, and Phoenix. And we compared forward. And we compared that to the city of New York. For actives, we found that the city of New York's plans are more generous in design and are lower cost than that of the other four cities. We note that the cities provide PICA directly, and welfare fund contributions indirectly get provided to fund the drug and other benefits, while other cities provide drug benefits through city-sponsored plans. Now, in particular for active plan designs, the cities, for the other cities, those four cities, the cost share, the deductibles, co-pays, and co-insurances are generally higher than that for the city of New York. While LA and Phoenix did have some comparable H.I.P designs, there are employee payroll contributions associated with them. Other less rich designs included offering high deductible plans, which were offered in Houston and Phoenix, narrow networks, which were offered in Houston and Phoenix, and three-tiered PPO plan designs offered in Chicago. In terms of contributions, all four cities charge payroll contributions. LA, the exception, LA did not charge, they only charge a portion of their population for contributions. There is some portion that isn't charged if they choose certain plans for a certain part of the population, while the city of New York doesn't charge contributions at this point. Active dental and vision plans are offered by all cities at varying degrees of subsidy, except New York City, based on my comment earlier, provides money that can go directly to the welfare fund. For pre-65 retirees, we found that the city plans are more generous than the other four cities and are offered at no cost to retirees, while the other four cities have retiree contributions. Plan design-wise, three of the four cities that we compared against offered different plan designs to pre-65 retirees than to what's offered to the active. Only one of them had the same design as the active, that was Houston, but they charged significantly more for retiree contributions than even for their active employees. Chicago and LA have H.I.P.Os that are comparable to the city of New York's H.I.P.O, but other plans have less rich H.I.P.Os with deductibles and narrow networks in instances. And both have high deductible health plans, including Phoenix, which has a catastrophic or really, really high deductible health plan. Retiree contributions in Phoenix pay a high level of retiree contributions or pension deductions for healthcare that falls in the realm of $4,000 to $13,000 a year. Chicago retirees pay 50 to 100% of the full premium. Only Los Angeles had at least one option that had no retiree contribution. And LA's contributions for their other plans vary by years of service. Lastly, for post-65 retirees, the city of New York's coverage was comparable to the other four cities in 3 of the 4 cases, as they offer group plans. However, the fourth city offers a subsidy and allows retirees to purchase insurance from a Medicare health plan. Notably, contributions appear to be higher for all other cities. Plan design-wise, all other cities offer group health plans except for Phoenix. That's the one that's offering the Medicare health plan where individuals go out and buy, but they get a little bit of money from that. For the cities, that have co-pays rather than the voluntary Medicare fee, standard rider, and co-insurance, and no limit cost share. So that's the only thing that seemed to stand out that didn't favor New York plan was the drug rider isn't as good a coverage as what provides through the drug plans of these other 4 cities. LA had a close design to New York, while Houston and Chicago had HMOs that were comparable to senior care. Cost share, as well as other HMOs and CPOs, had deductibles that did not compare favorably against senior care. Senior care showed up better than most of the other plans out there. Retiree contributions, they vary among the comparison cities. While the cities of New York retirees pay nothing, Chicago has significant service-related contributions. LA has service-related contributions. Houston has contributions that ballpark $200 to $500 a year. They vary by plan, not by service. And Phoenix had a retiree health exchange, as we said before. So that's paid for by the retiree. And finally, Medicare Part B. City of New York reimbursed for Medicare Part B premiums, including IRMA, which is that additional payment for higher earners. And Chicago, Phoenix, and Houston don't appear to reimburse for Medicare Part B premiums at all. And LA reimburses for the Part B premium, only the base premium. They don't reimburse for IRMA. So again, the City of New York far better than most, if not all, of the cities compared against the Part B. That's the benchmark. Thank you.
Harry, Alan, before you continue, there's a question in the chat. It's a report that Len just gave. Can it be sent to the MLC?
Harry, I think the officers will need to look at that because everything we send seems to end up in everyone's head. And I'm not sure that this would do well in the New York Post or Daily News or budget. Harry, the leadership.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it into consideration, right?
Okay.
But I think we have to listen to Donna's point. It's not just about that analysis. It's about us putting together a way to actually communicate to all of our members that this is something we constantly work on, and it's really difficult. But at the same time, we have to tell the story of the fact that it's not free. None of this is free. And we take care of this at the collective bargaining table. So when the Post tries to write about how we have a better house, well, it's because we've used our collective bargaining power. And we have foregone rates at different points throughout our history to make sure that our health care is free and free. And we need to be able to tell that story because we can tell the story to the members. Because my new members, they don't even know where their health care comes from, just like everybody else on the call.
Yeah.
Right? So we have to tell the story, but we have to tell the truth. We have to tell the truth to both sides. Like, this is really hard work. We're doing this, and it's not free, and we pay for it.
I find the same thing. The point is,
talk, we got students to talk. But for some reason, my new members just don't understand. They just don't understand. But
Yeah. Well, we have to put something together to really start doing this, and it really falls on us.
as soon as we get something solid to do, that's what we gotta do. We gotta get it. We gotta get it together.
Hey, Harry, we have a bunch of hands up. Okay, James Davis.
Good morning. Thanks, everyone. And I appreciate very much the presentation and the clarifications that were provided. And I know there's a lot of hard work that went into this preparation. As I understand it, we have three paths forward that have been explained that we need to choose between. And I'm concerned on behalf of the Professional Staff Congress. I want to express some concerns that we have about that framing of the different paths forward. And the PSC is going to be opposing. We're going to vote no on this, and I say that with no disrespect to anybody who's advocating for it. And I just want to have an opportunity to explain why. So I think everybody here knows it's been abundantly clear that the crisis that the stabilization fund is facing is very real. There's no illusions about that. And nobody wants the MLC to fail in its responsibility to uphold its part in the health savings agreement. What I'm hearing is that we can do one of three things. We can do nothing at all, status quo, in which case the city comes after us and they have leverage and they refuse to negotiate collective bargaining agreements with us. We can accept premiums and just give up the ghost on that and say, we're not fighting, we're going to accept 2 premiums now. Or we can do this, the proposal to change the administrative code and we can move on to Medicare Advantage. But we're not really talking seriously, we believe, about alternatives. We're doubling down as if the MA plus direction is the only viable path forward. And in order to get on that path, you got to propose this change to the administrative code, which is not a minor step in our view. It's not a trivial revision. And I think I disagree with the characterization that it's merely a clarification of the existing code. I think it's more than that. I think it's an interpretation of the code and it's adding language in order to shore up that interpretation. Now, we have a provision right now in the current code that requires the city to cover all in-service members, retirees, and their dependents up to the H.I.P H.M.O rate. And that's a single benchmark. It's a strong benchmark and it has an economic value attached to it. Arrangement with multiple benchmarks, but it's likely going to be less, or there could be a reduction in quality. And I don't feel comforted by the fact that we're still involved in negotiations, because negotiations take place on a playing field with lots of forces involved, and we may well be at a disadvantage, but the city has leverage, even though nominally we are negotiating. So we have a floor under our feet, the way that the code is currently written. And we feel the city's coming to us saying, you got to pull that floor out from under us. So I think, of course, we feel a responsibility as member unions in this MLC, but we feel that there are structural problems with the fund, that this is a short-term fix that could have longer-term repercussions in the way that we negotiate health insurance. And we've been advocating, and MLC leadership has heard this on this, I don't want to say otherwise, for alternative approaches, both structurally to renegotiate the terms of the agreement and also to contain costs and bring in revenue. I know that we feel like the city has us over a barrel, but we believe that we in the MLC can do better than this. So thank you.
And James, just legally, just to be clear from tripartite, this actually is one part of the overall package. Having an RFP issue for the active plan, which we will get to subsequently, is part also. Nobody is saying that this is the only thing. This is sort of part of what Simon has said. This is the path forward in order for the city to eat the $1 billion that will be owed by the end of this year. So what PSC is saying is that other things should be looked at as well. That is going to happen.
Carl Simmons? Kyle Simmons, are you still on? Okay, we'll go to Mike Troman.
Thank you, Ellen. I don't know how to vote yet, I'll be honest with you, because I hear all these administrative codes, old codes, new codes, this code, that code. What you should have brought into us today is to show us in writing what the old code entails and what you explained with the new code. And I still have no idea what the old code is. So I'm really lost. So having said that, if I'm lost, not that I'm dumber or smarter than anyone there, but I'm willing to bet 80% of people there, not that they are, uneducated or ill-informed or anything, but they don't understand this whole situation. Even if that was, not to cut you off, that was distributed. Now you can anything about the old code. All I see here is administrative codes that we're going to change if there's an impasse, that we won't go to arbitration. I see the city, all my years with the city of New York, they do what they want. That's the bottom line. And I'm sure, I tell you how long I'm with the city. I've been there for Koch. This will be probably my 46th, 47th deal with the city of New York. And I tried things we worked on. Yeah, look at the de Blasio administration. Pensions. He promised that he would take care of it. What does he do? He shifts first the teachers and then shifts us. So there are not people who are to trust along. Unfortunately, I have to say. We put money and money and money into their pockets only to be fooled by them. So I would love to have the old administration. It doesn't tell me the see, does not tell me a thing. The only thing I say, or I heard now, is if there's an impasse, which I'm sure there will be, they cannot take us to arbitration. How do you fix an impasse if you don't go to arbitration? And the police and fire proved us that what I'm saying to you is right. The impasse is we go to arbitration. And that's what's going to happen at the end of it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mike.
And I believe that the administrative code 12-126 has all this part of the package Ellen distributed. What it does is it has the phrase in it, or if the parties may negotiate. That's the new language. Otherwise, it's the existing administrative code.
So truly, I don't understand. There's really nothing that's there to help us out.
Mike, I'm sorry. There's a clarification. The language about and this goes back to Jim's point, that the floor which requires the city to pay the HIP H.M.O. on a categorical basis is not changed. That language remains. That value remains. But one thing has not been said is by the judge's decision, the city could then put everybody in the HIP, right? Because that's all they're required of pay. That's all what they're required to pay. I want to say that again. This added language that Alan just said, this added line just allows it to also provide the idea of choice. That is not just a HIP H.M.O. So we can all say, we don't like it, it's there, you can against it, or not. But the changes on the code is not opening the code to allow for everything else. It's simply adding a line that allows for other than that option to be negotiated. And I think that has to be said because people are saying, we open the code, we're allowing for this, and that happens, they can start taking away the benefit. That's not what this is. At least that's, I'm putting it forward, and people need to ask the question. I get it. But that's what the proposed language is.
Okay, I understand you, and I am leaning towards it, but here's the thing, also with EPA, I've had not my own personal experiences, but my members who have had Aetna in New Jersey especially. They hate the subdivision. They cannot stand that. They would go to him anywhere, not Aetna. But they have to do because of the situation that they're in. I'm talking about the retirees. And they call me and they tell me how bad this is. So I'm skeptical about Aetna as well. And I'll be honest with you, to me, it would have been much better. Unfortunately, they dropped out. Because I've had it, and my wife says she just said right, so I have to listen to my wife. So, anyway.
Actually, Mike, just so the record is clear, it was Empire that dropped out because of its parent. Emblem was happy to stay in and to be part of it.
Yeah, now let's be clear. We're not voting. We're not solidly connected yet. We have a long way to go.
That's correct.
And if we're not comfortable, we're not going to go.
But didn't we always have a plan, an option? We always had an option.
Say that a Medicare Advantage by Aetna is being provided for thousands of retirees for over 2 decades. There is a Medicare Advantage for Aetna right now that the retirees choose over time. So let's not make it sound like this is like a brand new concept. Okay? They've been around for decades now. Now, whether that's good or bad or indifferent, it's not a new concept. It's the issue of options. So I think that's what.
But doesn't the law say that they have to pay the hit rate as well?
The current administrative code has that we're not changing that for the actives. This would be changed for the retirees with a plan that basically where the healthcare people tell us there is data which they have, but that was when there's that campaign from the retiree group. But this amendment by itself changes nothing for the actives. It just gives an opportunity, as Michael said, for the MLC to have more control over what's going on.
And we'll be able to keep the fixed senior care, which under the judge's ruling is in jeopardy.
Correct. The city wants us to jettison it because the judge didn't say you have to keep senior care. Judge said, the city has to offer one plan, that meets the criteria, and if the city doesn't want to offer senior care, it doesn't have to. This is what we're accomplishing here with the service. And again, Michael and others are right. There is no agreement to go to Aetna. It's being explored. Aetna has said that if they get the contract, they will allow people to choose senior care or get them under the exact same terms that was.
I thought the law doesn't say that. I mean, if this will give the MLC and the city, they can peg any plan at any time.
Yes, but the MLC has that option, but nothing changes. The MLC would have to decide to change from the H.I.P as the basis for the action. The amendment doesn't change that itself. It gives the right to the MLC.
I thought the judge said it was against that.
That's the whole point of the amendment is to restore, as Michael, the whole point of this was to restore the ability of the MLC to decide what it believes is appropriate. And I know a lot of the people who were part of the original negotiation did not want to see senior care jettisoned. They wanted senior care as an option for those who wanted to keep.
Kyle, we're going to go back to you. Kyle?
Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. I appreciate all the hard work that put into trying to put an end to this unfortunate situation with our health plan. But I have to disagree in reference to changing the administrative code
This is the reason why. But one of the things is we all retired as a training. And I want everybody to understand that. All colleagues of ours used to say that all the time. We are all retired as a training. And I don't care what kind of financial resources we have obtained over the years as public service employees, especially on Bloomberg, any type of devastating illness that can happen to either one of us or our family members can drain us completely dry. Right now, the retirees and the actors are on a level playing field. A lot of emphasis has been put on contracts. And there's too much emphasis put on contracts. Because contracts is just that. Contracts are broken by the city of New York on a regular basis, and we have to fight them. Because they break them. A lot of people don't realize that, you got the New York State Emergency Act, Financial Act. Contracts can be wiped out. Wiped out. Now, it hasn't been done so far. But the fact that they can be wiped out, that's the reason why I'm saying we put so much emphasis on it, because they can be wiped out. So whatever agreement we make, whether it's with the MLC, with the city, or our individual bargaining contracts, can be wiped out. Because we heard it countless times that there's been different aspects of this healthcare that has been popping up. Different, but it still has to revolve around healthcare. Decisions have been made in the past in reference to why we are having this discussion right now, because all the avenues and eyes was not guided at that particular time, because it was unknown entities that came out of the blue and put a stop to it. And I believe that the same thing is going to happen with what's going on right now, because a lot of people are just talking positive about what it can do. But there has not been too many questions and statements about what it can be, because there's always two sides of a story. The one that we want and wish for, and a possibility that can happen that people think that they will not happen, and they do happen. And that's the reason why I have to say that I'm not in favor of changing the administrative code. I think it's a great administrative code. It works for everybody's benefit, even though at this time it's not working for ours. The city of New York is supposed to be coming to the table, bargaining with each and every union that is entitled to their contract is out of it's a complete violation of the law. Yeah. We're not talking about them violating these laws about negotiating contracts. So what makes you think they will negotiate anything or even follow through with certain contracts that they do decide to negotiate, and they find later on that it's no good, and that did happen with our fund when the contract was in full blown, and they said, "Oh, we're coming back, we need to modify it." So these are the tactics that the city has been doing to us for the longest time. And as a union president of 924 for the last 20 years, I always made it my business to fight what they've always been doing. And I've been very successful in fighting them. Just because of the business that they've been doing for the longest time doesn't make it right. And I think it comes a time that we need to stand up to the city. If you got money for every damn body else, for whatever the reason or whatever the cause may be good, may be bad, there's no difference. At the end of the day, we're public service employees. You rely on us to run the city and to function. Without us, you can't function. And you can't treat us like trash or secondary citizens. And everybody gets. And we have to give back and continuous giving back. One of the things that was said about unions and old retirees, which we're trying to hurt right now, because it's going to be a two-tier system if we decide to do it. We're hurting these individuals that gave us everything that we are enjoying right now.
They gave it to us. They sacrificed to give us these non-premiums that we are enjoying today. They gave it to us. We didn't fight for that. We wasn't alive, or we was children at that time. So that's another reason why I'm against to take anything away that's going to give them priority with us. I don't care about the contract that we can negotiate to make it fair. What's on paper or that administrative code, no matter what we do or what the city do, as what the George said, it cannot be changed because it's a law. And contracts can't change law. So that's the main reason why I am against this, and I thank you for allowing me to talk on the subject.
Harry, just one point of clarification for the group. Right now, there are other retiree plans besides senior care that people can choose to go and pay up for. That's been in existence for decades.
We have more hands up. We're going to
How many
take,
more plans we got? Because,
Harry, we have 4 more hands up. We're going to take those and then move on.
yeah, we have to.
But take the time. Yes. Dave Nicholson? Carmen, I see you, Carmen. You're next.
Good morning, everyone. We sent a letter, and this is for just one record, in advance of any vote. We sent a letter last night to Commissioner Campion, Dr. Allison Smalley, and Claire Levitt, objecting to the imposition of any of these changes on PTA members. All of the changes that are being presented here today, the change to the administrative code, and the other changes that I guess we're going to speak about after this. For all the reasons set forth in the letter, we're not going to participate in this vote. And we reserve all of our rights with respect to these issues. Furthermore, we want to just let you know that we object to Harry signing any letter agreement with a campaign regarding the changes to the legislation. We don't think he has the authority to do so, does not have the bargaining certificate of the PTA, or any other union for that matter, except his own. So that's what I want on the record. As I said, when it comes to a vote,
Duly noted.
Carmen Charles?
Good morning. I'm wearing my 2 hats in making this comment. As the leader of the union, I'm concerned about this conversation right here. I'm very conflicted I know that our benefits and whatever happens at the MLC affects our wage increases. So, as somebody who has to represent some of the lowest paid in the city, I'm concerned about this conversation. As my other hat is retiring training in Wednesday. We already gave at the office, and I don't want the leaders and the negotiators of MLC coming up with a plan where I pay for my health care. There has always been a push for retirees to pay for their health care. And as somebody who generously utilizes her drug benefits, I don't want to have to pay anything else when I retire. We already gave at the office. Union members have always sacrificed the stabilization fund. When are we going to move away from this? We're saying we got to extend the contract to save the stabilization fund. We have to do this to save the. How much more can our members sacrifice? And what do we have to show for it? I would like to see one day before I leave this organization that we are not continually making a sacrifice. Why does union members have to bend over backwards? Why? This is just, to me, it's giving me a whole lot of agitation. I have to tell you guys, this as a president and as a retiree in waiting, call me selfish, but this is getting to be, this conversation is making me very nervous. So, for the negotiators of MLC, please take this into consideration. I would love for my members, I would love for you to work out a deal where retirees don't have to pay for their health care, and we want a deal where our members can get a decent health wage increase because we don't have to sacrifice because of the weather. And guys take a vote, I will give Henry my promise.
Thank you, Carmen. Okay, we have Frank Rocha. Saul, you're the last one. Thank you. I see. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ellen. I want to just start with, I appreciate the work and the comments made by Michael and Henry, and I understand how difficult these decisions have to be. You know, the tech committee, I don't know how they do it. They do a tremendous job. But just to go back to Einstein's quote that was mentioned earlier, allowing ourselves to be pushed and pushed into another corner and forcing us to make only one move again and again isn't smart either. If the worry here is the stabilization fund, which it is, this doesn't fix it. It's only a Band-Aid. It'll reoccur again and again, just as your Carmen Charles said. This is our Achilles tendon. We have to figure out a way to solve this problem in perpetuity, if we can. Amending the administrative code also empowers the city to force the MLC to swallow another quick fix in the future. Not just for current retirees, but I think it leverages it that they potentially could do it for actives and any dependents also. If I'm reading the amended changes correctly, at the end, I'd like to hear if I am or I'm not. To say that they have to negotiate with us brings us back again to what's happening to us now. We're being forced up against the wall to make only one decision, and that doesn't solve the problem. Aiming that we're fighting to maintain no premium increases. This just means we'll have to ultimately diminish benefits to everyone. Ultimately, because if we don't fix the problem, that's what will happen. This is our future. It's in our own making if we don't fix this problem. I also want to comment, I completely agree with PSC's assessment on the matter. And respectfully, I'm going to have to vote no on this also. Thank you.
Again, the RFP is designed to continue efforts so that we don't lose what we have.
Thank you, Ellen. We're the last one, Saul Fishman.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. First, this is a difficult situation. It's not going away anytime soon. Clearly, what we're talking about today is going to may buy some time, and I understand it saves the imposition of our premiums now on our actives. I think someone mentioned earlier, maybe it was Henry, maybe I'm not sure, something like, was it like $1,800 or something? If we were to accept this, in any event, as opposed to the majority of the retirees I hear from, who insist that they're not comfortable with anything short of the senior care that they've enjoyed, if we don't change the administrative code, they, well, if we do, but they have to pay for it, they pay what, an extra, was it like $3,000? Do we know? Because yes, we are retirees in training. I realize there is no easy choice, and as Frank Rocha and others say that this is not, is the end of the picture. We have it addressed. I don't know if that's the next thing you're planning to speak about it, Harry, but we still have to get to the stabilization fund. I recognize that, when I stop talking, there'll be a vote, and given that both Henry Garrido and Mike Mulgrew supporting this, it's going to pass. Let's be realistic here. So, I'm not sure the options. I wish there were, but I'd like to upfront know what it means if we accept this dollar-wise for our actives and what we don't for our retirees. And many of us in this room are but a few years away from joining those ranks. And yes, we salute their hard work that got us to where we are. What it means for them as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ellen? Yes, Henry. Go ahead.
I have my hand up. I don't know who was there. Just like to respond.
No, we're closing it out.
Okay, so folks, there are a couple of things that have been said that I think need to be said. Well, first of all, it's important for us to own our own mistakes. Whether, hindsight is always 20/20. But we each union have been taking $165 out of this fund since 2014 for actors and retirees. The reason we were able to cover retiree prescription costs, the reason why the PICA program has risen to $500 million still has no premium. So let's not pretend that this is something that came out of nowhere because of Medicare, that we're passing it on. We've been doing this. Taking $100 million, right? Rightfully or wrong, that has been handled, right? Secondly, we have thousands of people who are taking advantage of the PICA program. Chemotherapy, drugs, injectable medications that as of July 1st, there's no funding for it. So if you're going to vote no, and you can, that's the democratic process, up or down, I would suggest respectfully that you have a solution, an alternative, right? Because we've been at this for years. And there is no 10,000 debt retirees that we're paying premiums for. We looked at this. We did the audit. There is no $35 per retiree that we're paying over. That is a false argument for somebody who's saying, well, we don't want to have to do this. There is no premium on Medicare Advantage. So you're saying that they're paying the difference. There is no premiums for Medicare Advantage. That's false. We're not doing that, right? The HIP people that are there in HIP VIP remain in HIP VIP. So if you want to say this is dangerous, we don't want to amend the administrative code, that's fine. We're taking too much of risk. I get that. But let us not start repeating solutions or alternatives because we don't want to do this that are false in our argument. And I think that the most dangerous thing we can do here is do nothing. You can vote yes, you can vote no, that you can vote your conscience. But if you do, make sure you understand that what you're betting for or against. Because the status quo is just simply not an option in my view.
Thank you. Harry, I just want to, in terms of changing the administrative code, again, it really is us saying, no, judge, you don't, if there's a judge, first time ever, who's going to rule on this interpretation of the administrative code, doesn't matter that the city lawyer answered or all the rest of it. We can't let that stand. Because basically what the judge said is, the only guarantee you have is one plan, minimum H.I.P That's it. And that just cannot stand because there's no reason. That means we don't have HIP. There's a scenario where we wouldn't have HIP and senior care. We just have the HIP. So let's just talk about the technical aspect of all we're doing is fortifying our rights that we thought we had and we believe we still have, but we have to correct this, and we're going to correct it in a way so that no judge can misinterpret it again. That's what we're doing with the administrative code. We are not near a deal with Aetna. We have a long way to go. We got a lot of work to do there if we want to go there. And the plans that we've designed for our retirees absolutely have all the benefits they've always had. Yes, they're going to have a prior authorization, but it's not going to be anything like it's already been made out to be. Because let's be honest, politics is vicious, zero-sum game, and there are people out there who will lie to do anything to get whatever they think they should get. The judge ruled clearly that there is the only thing the city's obligated for is that H.I.P rate, and that's because we have that in the administrative code. We need to keep that solid, that we can move and use that H.I.P rate as a basis to do other things. In terms of if we do nothing, the 8 years that we've done all of these changes to keep us premium free with people of which I'm amazed we've been able to get because of the increases in healthcare are growing much faster than they ever have before. And that's where our fight really has to be in terms of dealing with that in the political phase, because you can no longer just continue this. Stabilization fund, look, there's a lot of our members taking a lot of benefits out of that. We want them. That's why we fight for that stabilization fund. So our members have these benefits. Doing nothing means that we're dealing with some sort of a scenario where we might go to arbitration, we might not, whatever. In the end, if we don't do something, we're going to continue this path of saying we're going to continue to fight, but also lobby at the same time, then we know what we're looking at. It's premium. And it'll be premium Right now, you have scenarios where there's premium on in-service, our active members right now, not retirees. And you won't, politically, that'll turn into a mess also. So we have to do the things, continue to do the things, and they're tough, they're not easy. I get quite a few emails from our retirees, and I've had numerous live in-person meetings with them. So I understand the pressure we're all feeling. But we, to do this work and to continue to try to fight to keep our benefits, but to use our intelligence and to really go after the people, the bad actors in healthcare, is something we're going to have to, that's the work that has to be done. And this is just another challenge.
Thank you, Mike. Harry, there's two quick messages in the chat.
It's gotta be the end, we have a whole agenda, one way or the other.
Okay.
Let's get the two in the
Okay. What, John Hislop, I agree with everyone on messaging. The MLC needs a unified message on where our healthcare comes from, its problems, and how the MLC is trying to save and protect it. If we support administrative code change, we should send message very soon. The other one is Tom Cazzo. What happens if the MLC votes to pass the amendment of the administrative code and doesn't pass in the two hearing dates? What happens then? Will we still be in the same position? What will happen if the majority votes no? What is plan B? And that's the end of it.
If the majority votes no, then Simon will probably start to act as the chair of tripartite and order something, because he recognizes the city is out $600 million to $1 billion, depending upon when you call the question.
Okay. It's yours, Harry.
Hi, where's Greenberg?
Right here.
Hi. Well, the motion right now, all right?
I'm going to call a question, and I'll begin it with the Allied Building Inspectors. How do you vote?
I don't believe
Yes.
it.
Change, Harry, can you explain? Let's get it clear.
Yes, so we want to approve the change in administrative code. Yes? No? No.
Thank you.
Allied Building Inspectors,
They're not present.
Amalgamated Transit,
Not present.
Atlantic Maritime Group of Masters, Mates, and Pilots,
Richie Russo.
I'm sorry,
It's Richie Russo. He's on.
well, he has to say something. Mr. Russo, you're on, please let us know how you vote.
He dropped off.
Okay? International Brotherhood of Boilermakers. Captains and Cabin Association. Chris,
Yeah, I need to know.
okay?
Mm.
Carpenters and Joiners.
Yes.
Local 270, I'm sorry, City Employees Union, Local 237.
We have
Yes.
a proxy and they vote yes.
Civil Service Bar Association. Tom?
Yes. You hear me?
Yes, we got it.
Have it again? Yeah.
Civil Service Forum, Local 300.
Yes.
Civil Service Maintenance, Local 1969.
I have to abstain.
Committee of Interns and Residents. Local 1180.
Yes.
What is it?
Yes. Yes.
Hey. Local 1181. Not yet. Local 1181. Local 1182. Local 1182. Local 1183.
Yes.
Captain, Correction Captains Association. Vote no. Correction Officers Benevolent.
Vote yes.
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 Council of Supervisors and Administrators.
We have a proxy, they vote yes.
Detectives Endowment Association.
Jeff Boyd?
Yes, we vote yes. I'm sorry, excuse me, we vote no. Excuse me. Detective Investigators Association. Detective Investigators Association. Doctors Council. We vote no. Local 1199. Local 1199. IBEW Local 3.
Abstained.
What is it?
Abstained.
Is local 3 a yes or a no?
They're abstaining.
Okay. EMS Superior Officers. EMS Superior Office. Fire Alarm Dispatchers. Fire Alarm Dispatchers. Tenants Benevolent Association.
We vote no, Harry.
Marine Engineer Association. Engineers. New York City Sheriff's Association. New York City Deputy Sheriff Association.
And they're not present.
Local 246. Yes. New York State Nurses Association.
Yes.
Operating Engineers Local 14 and 14B. Operating Engineers Local 15. Operating Engineers Local 30.
Yes.
Operating Engineers Local 891. Organization of Staff Analysts.
Bob Krogan?
Victory Grant, yes. Thomas Benevolent Association.
As I stated before, we're not participating in this vote.
Is that a no?
No, we're not participating. I don't recognize the authority of the MLC.
I'm participating. Local 1042 Highway Sewer Inspectors.
Harry, they're not present.
Okay.
That's some background noise.
Professional Staff Congress.
I know.
You can't hear it. No. No? Is that a no?
No.
That was a no.
Sanitation Officers Local 444. Yes. Sergeants Benevolent Association. That's a no. Steve Minutes Local 638. Steve Minutes Local 638. Supervisors Local 621, SCIU. Yes. Transport Workers Union Local 100. Local 100. UCE of FIT Local 3457. Local 3457. Uniform Fire Officers Association. No.
Uniform Firefighters Association.
Marty, go ahead. You have any questions?
We vote no. Uniform Sanitation Association. Yes. Uniform Sanitation Chiefs.
Vicky, is that right?
I say yes.
US.
Yes on UFT.
Yes.
United Probation Officers.
Yes.
Okay, this is
Jerry, before we go to DC 37, I think Richard Russo is on.
Just so much background noise. Yeah, about AMG wants that stay.
Okay, thank you.
which one is he?
Atlantic, now it's Rangoon.
Maritime States?
Yes.
Local, this is DC 27, local 154.
Local 154, yes.
Local 299. Local 299. Local 371.
Yes.
Local 372.
Yes.
Local 374.
Henry, you have the proxy.
Local 374 votes yes.
Local 375.
Absolutely yes.
Local 376.
Local 376, absolutely yes.
Local 384.
Yes.
Local 420.
Henry, you have the proxy.
Yes.
Local 436. Local 436, 461. Local 508.
Henry, you have the proxy.
508 votes yes.
68.
768 votes yes.
Local 924.
No.
Local 957.
Yes.
Local 983.
Yes.
Local 1070. Local 1070. Local 1087. Local 1087. Local 1113. Local 1113. Local 1157. Local 1157. Local 1189.
Henry, you have the proxy.
Yes.
Local 1251.
Yes.
Local 1306. Local 1306. Local 1320.
Yes, sir.
Henry, before we go to third one, local 1157 is counted for us. We vote in the back. He votes yes.
Local 1306.
No.
Local 1320.
1320, yes.
Local 1321.
Yes.
Local 1322.
Yes.
Local 1407.
Mom vote yes.
Local 275. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Local 1455.
Yes.
Local 1482. 1482. Local 1501. Local 1501. Local 1502. Local 1502. Local 1503. 1503. Local 1505. Local 1505. Local 1506. Local 1506. Local 1507. Local 1507. Local 1508.
Henry, you have the property?
We vote yes.
Local 1549. Local 1549. Local 1597.
Yes.
Local 1655.
Local 1655, hesitancy, votes yes.
Okay. Local 1740.
Henry, you have the property?
We vote yes.
Local 1757. Local
Yes.
Yes. Local 1797. Local 1797. Local 1930. Local 1930. Local 1931. Local 1931. Local 30. Local 2054. Local 2054. Local 2507.
No.
Local 2627.
Yes.
Local 1305.
No, 308.
3005.
Yes.
Local 3621. Local 3621.
Yes.
Yes. Local 3652. Local 3652. Local 3778.
Local 3778 votes yes.
Okay, gotta tally this up.
Okay, Harry, Ryan, just identify yourself and your vote.
Yes, Tom Ryan, Boiling is local 5. Vote yes.
What page is it?
On the first page. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
So Harry Nismoli, while Harry Greenberg challenged, why don't we do very quickly 2 of them, maybe 3 items, that we'll have one. 2 of the items are for informational purposes, if the steering committee, and the Harry one and the leaders wanted us to review. And one you heard already is that Edna was the 2nd place finisher on Medicare Advantage with Empire Food Law. The city procurement office says that if Edna is willing to maintain the bid that they have put in, negotiations could start with them, so long as they were not beginning bid. Those negotiations have started, and just like it was said that they'll be pursued, but there's no decision on that yet. It will come back from the officers to a vote, just like it did with the alliance, if an agreement can be reached there. The other part is also for informational, that we have worked with the technical committee, and we made reference to that there was an RFI, request for information, that was issued. There were, I think, approximately 8 responses. We had looked to see whether the incumbents, Empire and Emperor, would put in guaranteed savings that would be brought to avoid the time and expense of RFP. That did not satisfactorily happen. So Harry Nismoli appointed a committee of fund directors to work with Siegel on producing an RFP. There has been a draft done by Gilliman, the city's healthcare consultants. That has been distributed to Siegel and the committee that Harry appointed. And we have comments from Siegel and comments already from some of the fund directors. There will be a meeting on that, and then a meeting with the city. And then it looks like there will be an RFP issued to try and do what some of you have advocated on the call, was to create sort of a new dynamic for that, but preserving a lot of the good things that we have. So that again is for informational purposes. So Harry, it's those 2 you wanted the general membership to know. The last item then was part of the agenda for the special meeting. And again, this is part of what the tripartite committee has worked on. You've heard about these possibilities at prior meetings. Technical committee, steering, and general membership is what Harriet, the leader, the MLC officers wanted, was a vote that passed, significantly passed the steering committee to recommend to general membership. And it's a package of savings that, again, Simon is using to basically tell the city that they have to keep going and keeping the benefits, but that there are some changes that doesn't cure everything, but ameliorates in part the situation. These are that we resume having new hires go into the H.I.P H.M.O for their first year, like they did for several years. And we know from the reports that Emblem has done that approximately 95% of the people who went into it have stayed. There was an issue raised by Bob Krogan at the meeting, was that, look, that the drug rider for those of the H.I.P H.M.O was more expensive than it was for those of GHI. We went back to Emblem on this, and two issues have come up. One is that the costs are significantly down from where they were several years ago, but Bob was correct that there was a difference between GHI and the H.I.P H.M.O. And we went back to Emblem about this, and Bob this morning, Emblem emailed that they will make the cost of the riders the same at the GHI level, and that every year there's a new schedule to begin. The H.I.P H.M.O is part of the package. Part of the package is that there'll be a preferred network for urgent care centers. But we went to urgent care centers, incentivized that so people could get more expensive emergency rooms. But then the urgent care centers' prices went up, the costs went up. And what Emblem has negotiated is preferred networks, where actually all the urgent care centers are in the preferred network, but for Go Health. City MD is now in the preferred pricing. Emblem believes that once Go Health finds out that there will be only one dispatch state, they may come around. But this would be something that would reduce spend on that. Same thing for radiology centers, that they will be the preferred network for that. And the fourth item of the package is that a number of years ago, Montefiore was granted a preferred status for doctors because there wasn't the bronze docs and other event services that are available there. Montefiore, Emblem tells us, is quite expensive, and so the proposal is to have Montefiore treated just like all the others and not have preferred status. There's a savings, twofold savings associated with that. One is on the direct cost for the providers, and two, not surprisingly, the Montefiore providers refer people to the expensive Montefiore healthcare system. So there would be, a savings on that. So that is the package of four that the general membership is being asked to approve, and then that would go into effect, hopefully on 10/1 or as soon as that could be. And that's part of what Simon is saying is sort of labor's responsibility in order to keep, the fact that this city is owed $600 million to keep them on board with current programs. The last item which Simon worked out, and again, informational purposes for you, it was presented at the last meeting that because the stabilization fund is out of money, the stabilization fund can't pay the city the $112 million that is supposed to come out to it. Correspondingly, according to Siegel, about 8% of your welfare fund money comes from the stabilization fund. That is also being put on hold by this. The time frame that we've worked out is for the balance of the fiscal year, which means that the city got none of its money, but your welfare funds got part of it. And so that will, and that is part of what Simon said needs to be. It will be decided as we get towards the end of the fiscal year, depending in part on what the RFP produced, is Harry, whether that money was deferred or whether that money is just forgiven. And so that we'll see how the RFP goes. The other thing is that Simon has raised the possibility, and MLC leadership is looking at this, is from the city savings of constructing a fund. If an amount of money, if funds are in a distressed state, the belief is that because it's less than 8% of what it is, that hopefully isn't the case, but that is something that is being discussed. There's a formal agreement on that or a process, but that is a possibility for leadership of the city to consider. So there's more being voted on because that is what we worked out the shop. Yes. And the steering committee overwhelmingly recommended it after significant discussion. Okay. So we got it. So and the motion needs to be made to approve those 4 items if someone so.
Yeah.
Move to support the 4 items mentioned.
Second.
Second by Joey. So we can move on. Okay. Discussion.
Who was the first person?
Is there any discussion on things?
Yes.
By the steering committee?
I do have my hand raised, so I'll wait to be ready.
Go ahead, Al.
Bunch of hands raised. Go ahead.
Carry on.
So yes. Let's do a discussion on these items so we can get to a vote for that.
From yes, or that was from earlier?
That was earlier.
Okay. Okay. Did you have motions?
Yes, thank you, Alan. Just clarification, I might have missed it, but what was the RFP being issued for? I just didn't quite understand what that was being issued.
I'm sorry, Jeff. It's for to look at the overall health plans to see what people's ideas are. I mean, right now, what it's principally focusing on is the active plan.
Gotcha. Okay. My other simple question was, since you guys are already in somewhat of a negotiation with Aetna, when can we expect Aetna to do a presentation for us?
Once the group decides that it's something that they recommend.
Okay.
But Aetna will present. They have said that to us. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Marty Teague? You have your hand up?
That was from before.
Okay. Paul, do you have your hand up?
No, Alan, I didn't realize it went up. I didn't.
Okay. Donna Elevator, you have your hand up? Or that was from before. I'm good. Okay. Deborah Pitts?
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, thanks. Okay, bye-bye.
Did you hear me, Alan? Did you hear me, Alan? No, now I hear you.
Thank you, Alan. I don't know if I can do this, but can I call the question? Yes.
Harry. Before we go any further, there's an iPhone that's in the queue. Can you please identify? iPhone? That's Gloria Middleton. No, not Gloria. Somebody just came in with an iPhone.
That was Gloria. She had to leave off the other line. She just texted me, let me know to let her in. She's on her iPhone.
Okay, she's in, but she has to. Gloria, is that you? On the iPhone. Gloria, can you confirm that it's you on the iPhone?
Alan, this is Robin Roach. Is this a 646 number?
No.
Okay.
It's an iPhone.
Oh.
Okay, well, the iPhone is dropped off. So, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tom Custance.
Yes, ma'am, I asked, can we call the question?
Is it better now to ask, is anybody gonna vote no on this? And take no's? Or should we, I'm asking the legal end, or can we just go right down the list again? I'm sure some people jumped off.
Go ahead, Robin, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, you have somebody who seems to be making a motion to call the question. That might take precedence at this time.
All right.
Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna go through all the ones that didn't get from the first one. Allied building inspectors, amalgamated transit.
Point of information, please.
Sure.
Why don't we do a roll call on calling the question? Why can't it be a vote, a hands or voice? Just curious.
That's what I asked you. Can we ask?
It's appropriate. You don't need to do a roll call on calling the question.
I'm happy to answer.
I think there was a motion to call the question, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Forgive me, I'm on the phone today.
And I'll second that. Okay, Hash, so you can turn around, and the way I understand, I'm not a lawyer, but you can say how many people are voting no.
Okay, before we continue, Harry, can we just be clear on what they're voting on?
Yes.
Debate on this issue. Right, so there are no further questions or discussions on it. That's what I think the maker of the motion intended, and he can speak up.
That's correct, Robin. I think you just go proceed with the vote.
And another point of information, Harry, I mean, you can just simply say, all those in favor of calling the question, and then we go yes, and then we go no, we get out of here.
That's it, Hash.
Okay, all those in favor of the question, please signify. Any no's?
Aye. Can you please identify yourself? Who said aye? I'm an aye.
Is that a no?
No, that's an aye.
No. So are there any no's? PCA? No.
Who's the no?
PCA? PCA is a no. Anybody else? All right. Yes.
Mr. Chair, please like the aye comment.
Excuse me. This is Dave Nicholson.
Dave Nicholson. Dave Nicholson, what is it?
That was just to call the question. Now you're going to have a vote on the actual proposal. Is that what I'm doing?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thanks. All right, do you want a roll call vote, or do you want to do what we just did?
That's it. Right?
All right. All those in favor of the question that's before you, please, if you voted yes, signify. Yes.
Aye.
Are there any no's?
Dave Nicholson again from the PBA. I just want to go on the record again. You're not participating in the vote for one reason, but for one reason.
Are there any abstentions?
Yes, C is abstaining.
TCA?
Yes.
I think before you want to abstain.
Doctor's counsel abstains.
Right.
CCA, no. I got you. Anybody else? Yes.
Call for a motion to adjourn. For the special meeting.
Second.
I'll call another special meeting. Because there's still a lot of work to get done. As soon as we get together. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. All right, take care, everybody. Go on.
Wonderful.